All right. Hi there. Welcome back. I'm Sam.
And I'm Marius.
We are actually the members of a group called Grown A Geeks. I'm the creator and primary admin. This is my son. Today, this is actually our second time recording the video today. Okay, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Just kind of got bummed out a little earlier because we recorded an entire video and didn't have audio.
That's the equivalent of in film school leaving the lens cap on.
So I'm feeling some kind of way. Not gonna lie.
Salty.
Just a little salty, and trying to figure out what's going on with that. But you know, things happen. We make mistakes. We learn from it. We move on. So today we've decided that we were going to talk about a couple of things. We got a few things we're going to talk about. Ghost in the Shell, an anime that is quite popular,
And
now
it's
being
film adaptation.
made into a live action movie starring Scarlett Johansson. We're going to talk about actually a conversation that we had before. Two of us, we were talking about gameplay versus controls.
And some other things that make video games just great overall.
And lastly, we'll be talking about some upcoming games that we're interested in. One of the reasons we decided we want to do a video today, we've been working in the office here, and the office has been fully converted. Now it is an ideal location to record and things like that. We've got a nice 40-inch TV here that can actually provide some display. In fact, you're going to be watching a video here in just a moment on said TV. Probably won't look the greatest. I understand that and apologize for that, but you know,
That's
you'll
in
probably
the works.
We're trying to make something happen here. We're getting there. Maybe have something down in the lower corner while we're watching something, or you can see what we're watching same time, that kind of thing. But in remodeling the office, we have all of my collectibles. Everything that you see here used to be on two shelves in a bookcase. I mean, it was all of this. It was just jam-packed. It was so super crammed, full of stuff. And my daughter actually was the one who was able to put everything, organize it nice and neat. It's so pretty. It's so well displayed. I am blown away, and I just love what she's done with it. And there's a whole other side of the room. We've got Star Wars on the other side. We've got some other stuff. But since we had this nice setup, we decided that I wanted to record something, and Marius is going to join us. It's not quite where it was before. If you could just get a little bit of that tilt out. There we go. There's a small delay in the screening, so of course we're trying to make sure that it is as it should be. There you go. Okay. Which is kind of funny because they're going to see us look at the screen for a few seconds, and that's just going to be dead time. But we did learn from some previous videos we've done, and we've decided we're not going to make it quite as long as we have in the past.
So no 3-hour rambling on one subject.
We've kind of got an idea of what we want to talk about. We'll get in there. We'll make some conversation. We'll keep it moving. First thing we're going to do here, we've got the Ghost in the Shell trailer. You've probably heard of this. If you have not, then yay, you get to watch get out from up under your rock. But you get to watch the Ghost in the Shell trailer with us. Not so much a reaction trailer, we're not doing that bit, but just an interesting.
This is an indirect reaction trailer.
Yeah,
we have reactions,
and we've actually already seen it. So here we go.
Okay, what? It's pretty dark.
Move the. All right, so that was the first one. You had the geisha. She was walking there. She's got the weird mask on. I don't know what's happening with that. But here's the second, number 2 teaser trailer. That's the major unplugging. For those of you who have actually watched the anime, you know she jacks in and she's got the port in the back, so she just plugs in and out. This is number 3 coming up. So we've got it about to play.
Tastes funny.
I'm sorry.
What are you?
I like that tattoo she has on the inside.
She's got a little tattoo right there on her
I'm
ear.
gonna get one right there.
You know, I have a friend that has her ear pierced right there.
I know somebody with their pierced right there.
I always thought that was
that would
kinda cool.
hurt.
Probably.
It's probably worth it though. Fashion is not easy.
Slave to fashion.
Not only did I shoot you, I dropped my bullets on you.
That is like ultimate disrespect right there. That's how little. I dropped 6 shells to kill you with 1 shot.
I
That's
littered on you, punk. You got your screen up. You could tap and make that go away. This one's a little longer, so.
This is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning. He says at the end of the 16-second trailer.
I don't even think that was 16 seconds.
It was 16 seconds.
Now,
Yes, see?
This is just the beginning.
I just realized what I did was on.
yeah, the whole thing is a
Yeah,
total
again.
of 15 seconds. Did I? No. I stopped. All right, so take that out. Or take that back. But that's Ghost in the Shell. Now, one of the things about this that was pretty important was the fact that Scarlett Johansson is actually
White.
yeah, she's very white. There's no denying that. And in her whiteness, one of the things that it stands out about that is, of course, this is an anime. So having a white person cast in the anime by itself is, in fact, kind of it's something Hollywood's been notorious about. There's a whole controversy surrounding the whitewashing that takes place in so many movies. You had Gods of Egypt. You had
Zodiac, Gods of Egypt, The Last Samurai, that new movie with Mark Wahlberg, Doctor Strange.
no, that's Mark Wahlberg. No, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Great Wall with Matt Damon. You know, and even Doctor Strange, which
Doctor
a lot of
Strange
geeks, you know,
Benedict Cumberbatch. Like,
Cumberbatch.
is that his name? I don't know.
Cumberbatch. But
Cumberbatch.
yeah,
Cabbage
it's
Patch.
not much
It's
different.
this
Nonetheless,
synonym.
Tilda Swanson stars as the Ancient One, and with her being the Ancient One, of course, she's not Tibetan. She's not Asian. She's not of Asian descent. So the question is, why is she cast for this character? And they're actually saying that, you know, the official statement is that they're going with a Celtic background for the Ancient One. Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you do that? But
Sometimes there's just no excuse for this foolery.
and, you know, I would agree. There is no excuse. It does happen. It's not okay, but it is something that
Rich
it happens.
white people can do.
We're not going to make it that kind of conversation.
Yeah, this turned political really quick.
But nonetheless, something that was interesting, I actually had a friend, and one of my first arguments in my naive and ignorant conversation about it was, in fact, the anime doesn't look, they don't look like Asian characters in the anime.
Very few anime characters actually look Asian. Like, Naruto is this blonde white boy with blue eyes.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, you're absolutely right.
That's literally I'm not going to.
But the funny thing is like there's and someone will actually know the word, but there is in fact a specific word for it, and the whole concept is that the names are Japanese. It typically takes place in Japan. You got the Tokyo Police Department, Tokyo Special Task Force, things like that. Everything about it indicates that it is in fact Japanese.
Like, their setting and everything points to their ethnicity and race and where they come from, rather than them being drawn as such, because it's just easier to draw somebody normally than.
And the
race
thing
specific.
is, the characters are actually drawn without a race.
Yeah, they just
Like
took that
they're
blank
nondescript. There's no race involved. It's just the character, who the character is. And in doing that, it actually kind of liberates it a little bit, because it leaves it free for anyone to, I guess, identify and, not feel a certain way about it. But the problem with that is when you translate that same conversation into a major motion picture, now you have an adaptation where you have a character like Scarlett Johansson who looks like the Major, but she's not Asian.
It's a lot of gray lines here. A lot of gray lines.
Well, I mean, like, what do you think the problem with that is? Like, or how do they go about fixing that? Because if they're casting characters who are physically appropriate for the look, what do you do about the whitewashing aspect of casting an Asian woman for that role?
Well, it's one of those things where no matter what you do, somebody's not going to be happy with the outcome. In Hollywood, there's a lot of unnamed actors who could fill in roles wonderfully. A lot of Asian women who I'm sure could play the Major wonderfully, just as well as Scarlett Johansson, if not better in some aspects. Now, granted, you did say Scarlett Johansson looks a lot like the Major, so who's to say somebody of Asian descent will look more or less like the Major? We won't know unless we cast somebody for that part, which then it's up to debate and people's personal preference and their eye to determine whether or not they agree with such a opinion. But still, at the end of the day, it's one thing. It's understandable to go with big names in Hollywood. It's literally how you get people to watch your movie. If they casted practically a nobody for the Major, not many people will watch it. So using Scarlett Johansson, a established actor who is famous for her role as Black Widow in practically all the Marvel movies.
And she was also Lucy.
So having this character who is so famous and renowned, why not throw her in another movie where she looks like this character who doesn't have a race? It's not treading on any apparent lines, but many people who are fans of the show and do say that, hey, this is a Japanese show, so you should cast a Japanese character. Well, people in that regard have their right to feel that way. It's, again, at the end of the day, an opinion, and nobody's going to be happy with it. But I still think that to get over the whitewashing issue, they could hire people of color for a lot more roles rather than going with renowned actors. It's a bigger risk, but at the same time, you can get somebody who can play the role wonderfully.
I mean, a lot of actors and actresses have gotten their starts, and they were nobodies before their movie and then the big breakout role. This could have been the breakout role for any number of leading Asian actresses who, haven't had that opportunity. They would have the lead role. They would take the major part, or take the part of the Major. I guess it works
and
either
the
way.
major part.
Yeah, I've heard it both ways.
Take the Major's major part.
And as a result, could end up being Hollywood's next big star because they did that role. I'm trying to think of a good example of somebody who was a nobody. You know what? I'm probably looking at a poster of one right now. Who knew who Mark Hamill was before Star Wars? He had done probably some little bit parts and things like that. I don't think he was a big established actor. And then Star Wars comes along and boom, this kid blew up. And I mean, he did 3 movies. Star Wars is Star Wars. People still watch them today. I mean, we could sit and watch all 7 movies and it'd be great. You know what I'm saying? I'd have no problem with it. And of course, it would be a big deal to see Luke Skywalker in every single movie that he's in.
Mark Hamilton played in the movie.
In case you haven't spoiled anything.
Kingsman. He was in that movie too.
Yeah,
and
he's in Kingsman.
He's now a great actor who is astounding. Probably can get any part in any movie he wants.
One of the biggest parts that Mark Hamill has, of course, is the voice of the Joker. And if anybody watched, we actually didn't even do Killing Joke last time. We were supposed. Well, remember we did Steven Universe. We were going to do Killing Joke,
and we didn't do Killing.
And we didn't get to Killing Joke because we did
spent
3 hours on Steven Universe. So love that show. We won't talk about it here.
Compelled to. But
no, we won't.
Got our 3 hours.
We won't, because then we have to go into who's this new girl. Anyway, so getting back.
Triggered.
Just want to talk. Okay, but the point being, you have a lot of people who are nobodies until they get a good role. And you make a movie, and I can understand on the one hand not wanting to take a chance on anybody, who isn't an established actor or actress, because if you get Scarlett Johansson, people are going to show up just to see her.
Whitewashing movies ruins a lot of chances and careers for people trying to rise and start. Because if you can't get a part in a movie when they only want to cast white actors, regardless of whether or not races are implied or even existent in this movie or realm, having that diversity can make a movie interesting. Like, imagine what it would have been like if they did stick with the canonistic background of having Tibetan for the chosen one in Doctor Strange. Who would have played that actor? Would they chose somebody familiar who's Tibetan? Would they have found a completely new actor? I guess we'll never know because now they're Celtic. Who would have played the Major if they had chosen somebody Asian? Who would have played the Wall? Who would have been the Last Samurai had it not been
Tom Cruise?
What was that other movie with John Wick?
That was
Keanu
Reeves and 47 Ronin. But see,
that?
Well, the thing with that one, I think that story was designed for him to be the outcast, because pretty much everyone else in that movie was in fact Asian. You know what I'm saying? He was the fish out of water in that story, but I think that story was built around him being a fish out of water. Like, he was the different person for the point and sake of being different. It's not the same as a situation, because like if you take the story with even Tom Cruise in Last Samurai may not be necessarily the best example, just because there again the whole point, like, okay, there's a movie with Kevin Costner called Dances with Wolves, and the whole point is Kevin Costner is this, he's U.S. Army, he's just a soldier, the people are fighting the Indians and whatnot, and he gets hurt. He goes out, he's living on like this farm in the middle of nowhere. He marries this Indian woman. He ends up having little Indian babies. The whole thing is great. He basically converts his life over to become friends with the Indians, and they name him Dances with Wolves. That story isn't a situation of whitewashing, because the people they got to play the Indians were Indian. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, they were Indians, not Indian, but I guess they would be. He would be an Indian. Nonetheless, like grammar, whatever.
English is hard. Words.
Talk good and stuff, but
I speaks wells.
I could say all the words the ways I wants to. But anyway, so you've got these characters, you've got Graham Greene, you've got, they have actual Indians playing those parts, and that's one of those times where it's good. In The Last Samurai, they have, these are Asian men that are running around, the actual samurais, and with the exception of Tom Cruise, he's the one. Now, the issue with that is not so much the whitewashing, but the Great White Hope. And a lot of movies that will put someone in place to be the savior. Like, I don't know the basis behind it, but this new movie with Matt Damon, if it's called Great Wall and we're showing something that's happening on the Great Wall of China, and then all of a sudden
fights off an invasion or something.
So the Asians,
I get it, you're Hawkeye, but come on.
The Chinese people wouldn't have been able to fight up. It takes the white man to come and save them. That's one of those situations, and I think
let's get historical. How many times have white people saved? They're the people fighting on the other side of the wall. They're the ones he's fighting.
And maybe the white man knows how the white man thinks, so the white man can take out the white man.
I'm sorry for anybody getting triggered watching.
That's not the point.
We love white people.
You know what I'm saying?
Some of my best friends are white.
Uncle Dave, but Dave, what up, man? Shout out for Dave. That's my homeboy Dave Northup. If you're not watching this, I'm gonna fuss at you because you should be watching these.
Dave's the first one comments
I can't believe you'd go there
without us.
But honestly, it's just one of those things where it's like, I think there's a difference in movies between whitewashing and having the story center around a great white hope.
Either way, it's still egotistical.
It is still very much leaning towards what Hollywood decides is going to be.
Like Exodus, that entire movie was white people.
Yeah.
They're Egyptians. Egyptians is its own ethnicity. They weren't white people.
I think I set this for 9 hours on accident. I'm like, why has it not gone off?
So three times as long as we did on Steven Universe on this.
But I think honestly, I am going to go see the movie. Like, I won't even lie. I'm going to go see it. I want to see it.
I'm not watching Doctor Strange. I'm sorry. Fact.
I'm curious for Doctor Strange.
I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a hard movie to hit. Don't get me wrong. Marvel, they done great with CGI. Like, I mean, just look at the Avengers. That wonderful CGI. But Doctor Strange, that is complete magic. So, like, every 30 seconds, I would expect every, 30 seconds once he becomes Doctor Strange for there to be
Once
magic.
he is the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, like, he should be casting spells left and right.
What's really funny, though, is, like, I know they've got Doctor Strange, and I actually think they did a pretty decent job as far as casting Stephen Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he looks great as Stephen Strange.
He looks funny with that goatee.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of...
He does remind me of Doctor Strange.
No, you know the TV show The Venture Brothers?
Yes.
The dad on that, not Dr. Venture, but the house guest.
I know you're talking
The
about
one who talks like that's the first person that comes to mind every time I see him, and I'm just like, that's funny. So I mean, I'm interested in seeing Doctor Strange. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I was a huge Doctor Strange fan, and I'm just like so hardcore for it.
I
Marvel
when
has
the,
been
when
successful.
The animation version came out.
Yeah,
I remember that. I remember thinking that dude was white because he was kind of drawn a little light skinned. I was like, why is this white dude? Just in the Tibetan mountains.
Stephen Strange is white. I mean, he's about as white as Tony Stark is white. They got the same barber. No, Doctor Strange himself is white. See, the one I'm complaining about is the ancient one, the person that teaches.
Who told me Doctor Strange was colored? I feel like somebody told me that, so I've been living this lie.
I feel like
they're white. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still pissed off at the chosen one. You can't escape around that.
The ancient one, yeah. I mean,
but
that's.
My own ignorance led me to believe Doctor Strange was Hispanic or something. I'm thinking Doctor Strange is like, I don't even know, man.
Well,
just
I mean,
not white.
Given that you have no interest,
tanned in the animated series, but he was like,
I mean, you have no interest in seeing the movie, so that kind of sets it up.
I was kind of sad that Doctor Strange was garbage on Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
You know what?
I don't think he was even a playable character.
I don't think he was. I think
I remember you go into his house.
He's
like, oh my god, you guys are in my house.
Yeah, and he teleports you somewhere else.
To hell.
Does he actually
take
you to hell?
Teleports you to hell. I remember playing as Iceman, and when we got teleported, Iceman was like, really? You put me in hell? I'm ice. I'm melting. And I was like, shut up. You're the only character I've upgraded in your OP. Because he could just freeze enemies in spot, and it was just like, I just beat up blocks of ice the entire game. And
you know what's funny? Even when we played Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I still played Captain America more than anyone else.
I remember when you bought the DLC, man. I went in with Venom. That was the only character I played. Mostly because he could do that Tenadrill thing and just attack any enemy nearby him. So I just would run into a group and just kill everybody near me. It was such a cheap way to play that game.
I just liked really being able to throw the shield and
just OP.
Doom, 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 doom.
That's why I played with Iceman. Cause I remember one time an enemy we're
sidebar bad.
Derailing.
Sidebar bad. Okay.
Nostalgia.
So, but we did enjoy that, and
you gotta
Ghost in the Shell. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna check out the movie. You've got plenty of time to watch the anime before it comes out. In fact, I don't even think I have an actual date on the release of Ghost in the Shell yet.
I'll give Ghost in the Shell.
Still,
they didn't change anything.
It's still in production, so I don't think they've made it yet. So when does Ghost in the Shell release?
Power of the internet, ladies and gentlemen.
Ghost in the Shell will be released in United States of America on March 31st, 2017.
March 31st of 2017.
March 31st, 2017. So there you go.
2017.
2070. That's
17.
70.
7 whole deans.
Just make it up. Not 6 deans, but 7 deans.
Right. 207 in the word dean.
That you know what? Let's do it. That's the new
2017
year.
Hashtag
2017. That's
2K
what it's gonna be.
2K17. Eanes.
Now the other thing we were talking the other day. As part of the setup for this room,
we can relate back to what we sidebarred on.
I've actually remodeled this entire room. This looks so very nice. And one of the things that we did, again, I just want to give another shout out to my daughter, Samara Morgan. She was my interior decorator, and she helped all of the planning. So everything you see behind me, the way it's all organized and arranged and set up and put together, she did, and she did a fantastic job, and I'm very proud of her. And I'm gonna push her to maybe think about interior decorating. Even her brother, who gives her a hard time, said that it looks amazing, and it's really great because
we've bonded more.
You could not see how much stuff, like all of this stuff was like literally just smushed in a bookcase.
Think if you cleaned up your room, how much stuff you would realize you had that was useful, and it being your downstairs area. Like, it was initially your man cave, but then you cleaned it up and realized you had stuff to make a man cave, and you're like, well, what?
Yeah, like now it's like I can't wait to hang out in this room, you know. And it's
We've
literally
been
like
in this room all day.
All day. It is a geek den, and that's why we're recording, because
and it doesn't help. It's next to the kitchen, like across the hall from the bathroom, so there's no reason to go upstairs anymore.
None. Just
put a couch in here or a futon, and we could just sleep down here.
Probably will. That's sad. And what's really funny is like my wife is but she's in the middle. She admits that it does look nice and it looks really good, and I think she's okay with the layout. She'll be able to get to the carpeting and whatnot, so we'll probably go ahead and switch out the flooring, and it'll be much easier to do all of that because all the heavy stuff is moved and taken care of. She didn't even realize that was a side benefit, and it's all the way in the back, so a side benefit to that. But on the plus side, she gets her room back. She gets a 55-inch TV in her room. Goodness. The TV is I cannot believe you did that. You do know we're live.
What am I going to do? Just burp inside it? You know what? Whatever. Keep going.
Hold it in.
Don't bring attention to it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm talking.
Anyway, this way. The TV. That's the point here. When we were buying this TV, we were discussing. We were trying to figure out what size TV to get, and I was trying to decide whether we should do a 32, or 40, or 42, like 47. We're looking at budget options and everything considered. And I was like, I want something that's going to be large enough for us to be able to see when we're gaming, but small enough that it could actually be used as a computer monitor. And in using it as a computer monitor, it's worked out well. In fact, the image you see on the screen right now is, in fact, the background picture image for our Facebook group.
I love how the picture's cropped.
If you could.
I love how you asked me if I could, and you reach over me to do it.
All right.
But our Facebook page, Grown A Geeks, which you can find us on at facebook.com/grownageeks, or type it in the search bar. It is a closed group, so you will have to request permission to join, and one of the several wonderful admins on the group will either allot or deny your request to join.
Mouse. Did you close that one chat there?
I don't mind this. It's none of your business. You want to name off some of the wonderful admins who hopefully will watch this either live or pre-recorded, or past recording, or whatever it is. Past broadcast. That's what I was looking for.
Previously broadcasted video.
I mean, however you want to say it.
There we
Just
go.
Name the admins.
So the admins, of course, myself, Sam Morgan, lead admin, Grown A Geeks. We've got David Cook, who is Pokemon Trainer Red. I'm Superman, by the way, if you didn't get that already.
Oh, man, you're Superman?
Yeah, he's all right. He's okay. But I'm Superman, Sam Morgan. Then we've got David Cook, who is Pokemon Trainer Red. We've got Brent Tazomak, who's Majin Vegeta. You've got Roy White, who's Deadpool. Shut up. We've got Roy White, who's Deadpool. We've got Will Parker, my man. That's Iron Man. We've got Dwayne Taff, who's Green Lantern. And we've got one other admin, Michael McLeod. And again, I didn't even take time to look that up.
Some anime detective guy.
You know what? To find out who he is, you could actually go and listen to one of our previous gag reels. He gives a full breakdown once he's introduced, and he tells you exactly who it is. So that's how you will find out. That's on the pop quiz. So take the notes and let me know. That's how we know you got it. There's going to be a quiz later. Now, the purpose of talking about the TV, we were discussing what are the important aspects of games, like what's most important. And when we were discussing, we came up with the number one thing for any game is always story. For me, I don't care if it's Xbox, PC,
PlayStation,
Nintendo,
whatever, XR, 2DS. Trying to think of another console.
I was just waiting to see if you
Game Boy Advance. It
There you
doesn't
go.
matter, man. Story. That's all that matters.
Story is the number
But
one
it's
thing.
not all that matters.
Well,
but it's
story is
all
the
that
number
matters.
one thing for me. Like if a game has poor story, then I'm probably not going to play it. I'm going to lose interest in it, and you have to excuse me. My dogs are running around. One is just like,
Ever seen a dog rub itself on carpet?
I guess
It's-
she's scratching her back or something. Anyway,
Pretty entertaining.
So we were discussing the different things, and we figured out the story was the number one. I mentioned gameplay. He mentioned controls, and then we had a whole 20-minute conversation about the difference between gameplay and controls,
So we're gonna educate you kids on the difference,
Or
and
at least-
the relations between gameplay and
or at least what we figure or what we believe is a difference between gameplay and controls.
So we're about to drop some facts on you.
For me, when I think about gameplay, the first thing that comes to mind is how the character interacts with the world and the environment around him. The actual way the game is played. Hence the term gameplay. I didn't realize that would cover up so much of me.
Now, many of you may also think of the words gameplay, that thing you Google when you look for a trailer of something, and specifically, or also like somebody actually playing the game. Some of you, think of the controls when you hear gameplay. Like, how does that game play? Well, the controls are garbage because right bumper's my jump button, so that's stupid. But I mean, it comes down to personal prefix a lot of times.
Well, one of the things that you brought up that was a very valid point, but I think it falls more into the control aspect versus gameplay. Gameplay being how you interact with the environment or the in-game world. Whether or not the character can jump, can they swim. When I first sit down to play a game, first thing I do is I go to the options menu. Got to turn on the subtitles and things like that so I don't miss any of the story, because that's the most important thing.
Subtitles.
But after that, when I'm playing like the tutorial mission and stuff like that, I always try to test the parameters of the game. Can I fall off cliffs, or is there the invisible wall? Can I swim? Can the character swim, or do I die when I fall into water? Can I jump?
Can I kill innocent people?
Little things like that make the difference in the game, because I need to know if that's going to count against me. Do I still get points for that experience?
I wonder what our viewers think of me.
Can I rob them?
Okay, see, now you jumped in the wagon with me.
I mean,
Thank you.
I'm not going to let you be there by yourself.
Yeah. So we're both.
But the funny thing is like,
Mentally.
let it be any game. And you know what? I am the nicest guy. I will help and save everybody. I rob people blind in games.
I'm about to say.
You walk
ever
around
since
town and murder
No.
everyone.
Let me tell you why.
Please explain to me
Let me
why you
tell
have to
you.
walk around and
Let
murder
me
everybody.
tell you
I am
why.
listening. Full
Remember
attention.
Infamous on the PS3?
I do.
Okay. Remember how being a nice guy was like you had to fight all these bad people?
I
And
do.
you had to fight bad guys to get experience to buy your upgrades.
Right.
I beat Infamous and I didn't unlock every power. My grenade was only level 2 out of level 3. And level 3 was epic. And, everything was level 2 because I didn't have the experience, because I didn't want to risk my life every fight. So, I was like, hey, what happens if I'm a bad guy? I just went around killing innocent people, right? I leveled up so darn fast. Infinite power, how cool.
Unlimited.
Do you know how
power.
cool Sith characters became when you start playing Infamous evil instead of good? All the bad guys become awesome. I don't know what inside me broke where I decided playing a good guy's for the birds, man. I went straight hardcore. I let a game have a morality system. I will go off the deep end immediately first chance I get. I feel like I have limits though. I'll be evil, but I won't be a dick. If you and your kid, in Infamous, the first mission, one of the first morality choices you get are, hey, there's a spoiler for any of you who haven't played Infamous 1, but at this point, if you haven't played Infamous 1, either you aren't going to play it or you don't.
I think there's very few viewers are going to be like, Infamous 1. What's this Infamous?
Don't
game?
spoil it for me.
It's like, oh, I hate this shit. We're going to
But
report us
one
because we
of-
spoiled Infamous.
one of
You know
the-
what? It says in the title, possible spoilers.
So stuff like this is meant to happen. But one of the first missions you get is hey, it's an airdrop with some food in it gets stuck up there. So
I remember that.
You shoot it down and it lands on the ground. You're hungry.
And your
People around you
girlfriend
are
says something
hungry.
about it.
Innocent people are hungry. So it's hey, Do I let them eat as well? Because if we let them get the pickings, we're probably going to get scraps and leftovers. Because, I mean, there's a whole bunch of hungry people. But if I shoot them, they're like, holy crap, this dude can shoot lightning bolts out of his hands. Yo, back up from this food. It's his. He peed on it. It's his territory. You know?
I wouldn't. You know what?
So, like...
Yeah, if he pees on it, I'm not eating that.
So, it doesn't look like crazy.
I don't care.
Anywho, it's like, I'm not going to rip the food from hungry people's mouths. Now, later on, there's a decision to, like, hey, there's a, riot going on, and there's a couple of guards, doing riot stuff. They're like, hey, in the suits and beating people down with nightsticks if they get too close. So it's like, hey, if you zap a couple of guards from inside the crowd, the civilians can take the beating for you, and you just run on through. I let them eat, so I decided I was entitled to their physical pain.
Like they owed
me.
Bit?
Hey, okay. You ate because of me, okay? So you're gonna rot in that prison cell with food in your belly. So I blasted a couple people from inside the crowd. Like, I won't feel bad about murdering you, but I'm not gonna make your life miserable. I'm not gonna make you feel pain before you die. I'll snap your neck. I'm not gonna stab you in both knees and watch you crawl away. Unless, you did something to me, like try to defend yourself. Then
they get punished for defending
themselves. They throw
themselves?
rocks, man. I have electricity. You think rocks are going to hurt me?
They get punished for defending themselves.
I mean, if you know you're going to die, just let it just let it get over quickly. Don't make this hard on me. Don't make it hard on yourself.
That's
just
funny.
let me do this. Okay?
Just let it be.
I need to fight this final boss.
That's hilarious. You know what? I mean, the morality system in a game.
I love games that give you morality systems because
I like a morality system. That typically ties into story, and
that also ties into gameplay.
I mean, it may affect your controls because, like you said,
not even your controls. It'll more affect like how you interact with the game.
Go.
Please, you're getting the footage. It'll affect,
my border collie is like so jealous right now because we're both in here and no one's petting her. She's like having a mini freak out.
But like, picking up my lip here. Hold on.
Can you?
It's too late. I'm human. They can watch me do human things. It's okay.
You are so weird.
I don't care. They love me anyways. But like,
anyway,
morality in games, to me that affects more of the gameplay aspect because of how the world interacts with you. In Infamous, because I can use this all day. I love the Infamous series. Shout out to Sucker Punch Studios.
Yes,
Sucker Punch Studios for making it. I love you guys. It got weird. But yeah, like,
you made it weird.
When you're good, people run up to you and start giving you a thumbs up, and they're like, "Hey, you're Cole McGrath." The sky's blue, birds are chirping, nobody's getting lynched, nothing's on fire. It's a great time for everybody. Well, no, it's still hell, but it's a decent time for everybody. When you're evil, people will straight walk up to you and try to fight you. Never mind the fact my skin is physically gray. I have black mush coming out my veins. My electricity is crimson red, and I look like death, and people tend to die when I get around me.
You look like a Sith.
They run up to you, and I'm like, hey, you're a dick. I'm going to beat you up. Like, I literally sat there, and a mob, not one NCP came up to me, but like 10 of these people jumped me. I was like, what? The sky was red. It looked like... any of you who played Skyrim played the DLC of Dawnguard when you get the blood elf shot arrows, and you shoot it at the sun and it just blacks out and the whole sky turns black and red. It looks like that. And people just run up to you and beat you. They throw rocks at you. They're like, hey, you suck. People are getting hung upside down from light posts. I don't even know how they get to the light posts. Like, who decided to crawl up there? How'd you get back down? Did you go down the rope the dudes were getting hung about the foot by? People just hate you. You're literally scum, which you probably killed a lot of innocent people to get there.
And the point of this is
it affects your gameplay. Games with morality systems always affect the world. Like games like Fable, if you're evil, people will run away from you. You cannot interact with the environment. You can't go to stores. You can't go to shops because you're evil and people are deathly terrified of you. They run away from you at sight.
Well, I know in Fable, in some cases, like because I'm notorious for theft in games. I go into people's houses, and if I see something I want, I just take it, like all the time.
See, we're different because we're both evil, but you'll steal. I'll kill the owner and take his house.
See, and that's the thing. For me, it's a morality thing. Taking your life is different from taking your stuff. Your stuff is replaceable. Your life is not. If I kill you, then that's a moral issue for my character.
Thief with the code. There really is honor amongst you punks.
Hey, Robin Hood and whatnot.
If I get rid of you, your stuff is forfeited. So, what are you gonna do? Return it?
Now, I do remember that in Fable, if you
Favorite game series.
you would steal stuff, and after you steal stuff,
You could apologize and keep it.
well, not only that, but like, remember if you get arrested or if you get in trouble,
Community
they take
service.
everything that you have stolen gets confiscated. So all that stuff that you stole is gone. I think they do the same thing in Skyrim, don't they?
Yeah, in Skyrim. No, and what pisses me off about Skyrim is, say you steal a candlestick for whatever reason. You steal something stupid and you get caught. Every stolen thing that's in your inventory, repossessed.
That's what I'm saying.
Which
So
sucks because like you don't understand how many missions I've done for the Thieves Guild, and I've like robbed $1,000 worth of just garbage out of Markarth because there's nothing valuable in Markarth. Like I robbed Markarth 6 times, and the only thing of value was a ring, and that's been robbed 4 times at least. I had to glitch it in somebody's pocket, and I was like, screw this game, man. I had to cheat. So here I am stealing carrots for 3 cents on the carrots. So I'm walking out here with 300 pounds worth of carrots and cabbage and buckets and forks and books that are like 12 cents. And it's all stolen. It's all stolen. I walk into Riften, a guard's like, wait, I know you. Yeah, you wanted for that thievery. 17 game saves ago, I've caught you. Hand over all your confiscated items. And I'm like, so you tell me I have to rob every house in Riften for that little scrap that fell on the
now
floor?
you gotta fight. I didn't even want to fight the guard, but now I gotta fight the guard.
No, I'm not fighting the guard. I'm killing every guard.
Just on the off chance that I can get away and keep my stuff.
No,
and that does affect the overall story. To me, that affects the story,
Well,
not so much the gameplay.
Not a game like Skyrim, it doesn't directly affect the story. Cause like the story, games like that, the story is linear.
Main story stuff, yes. But like if you take something, even something like, say, Knights of the Old Republic or Mass Effect, or Fable is the perfect example again. Where
All those
those decisions
can affect the outcome of the game.
right, they have a direct
You
effect
have the
on the
good
story.
ending, the bad ending, the neutral ending, the ending that was like good, but like you screwed up, so you just have to like kind of go with it. Like that ending you winged because like you decided to be a dick the whole game. Right. You decided to have a change of heart, like every Star Wars movie ever. You know, well, like pull a Vader. Like you're evil up until the moment you decide you
know what?
screwed up.
That is my kid.
Yeah, I killed all the good people.
But
And
that
there's one guy here telling me you can be good.
That one is my kid.
Thanks,
It's a little different. It's a little different. I mean, same with you. Let anyone over there say something, but let you tell me, and it's like, it's a little different. That's my kid.
You're a dick. You're a dick. You're a dick. Dad, you're kind of a dick. Well, maybe I am.
Maybe I should stop being a dick then. I'll try. I'll try not to be. I'm gonna try harder not to be a dick. But when you have gameplay and you have controls and the different issues and different aspects that go into the game, gameplay is one of the to me that's number 2. Graphics kind of fall down the list.
I would list graphics and controls at the same little mark. 3
So
and 4.
1, 2, and tied for 3rd.
Yeah, 3 and tied for 3rd, and I guess on your opinion could make it 4th. But to me, one hand washes the other with gameplays and controls, because if you have terrible controls, that really affects your gameplay. If you cannot adapt to the controls, you cannot really experience to play the game that was meant to be played. I know for a fact, when I played Deus Ex for the first time, those controls were so crazy. I just could not effectively play the game. I had to put it on easy. I didn't feel like I was getting a challenge out of it. Until like I got halfway through the game, I learned how to use the controls. I was OP by that point.
I still have that issue with Metal Gear.
Yeah, sometimes it just depends on the console, because like I can't really. I have it on the Xbox. I've adapted, but like let me be away from Metal Gear for more than 2 hours.
No, I mean just
the controls.
See, and honestly, that's one of the funny things that they've started doing now in especially in a lot of the shooters, because I try to play with all the default controls. So for me, controls, I won't say it's a non-issue, but I tend to only play a handful of games at a time so that I don't have an issue with controls. Now, I can play separate types of games, but I can't play a lot of the same kind of games because I typically go with whatever the default control setting is. Now, you like to actually change your controls.
Yeah, if I have the option, I change my controls to the most familiar, which to me I found Call of Duty controls to be the easiest, because left and right trigger aim, and you have your bumpers for things you don't always have access to. So it's like grenade, tactical, miscellaneous things, and then your buttons are your buttons. Usually buttons, I don't mind if they're interchangeable. It depends on what they do, because like I'm used to Y or A being my jump button. If X or B is my jump button, that's ludicrous.
That's
that
a
cannot
problem.
happen.
Yeah.
I need that gone. B, I'm used to B or my thumbstick being my crouch, so I can deal with that. X, that's always reload.
Yeah.
Or use item for my Dark Soul players out
Like
there.
interaction and things like that.
And sometimes Y is the interaction or A is the interaction. Like there are certain buttons, like all the controls I've memorized from the various games I've played where Call of Duty controls were an option. Like I might play a game and I'll walk up to something and my default action would be press A to interact with it. If not, press X or press Y or press whatever button shows up on the screen. First of all, usually games will guide you. They won't let you be an idiot unless you play Dark Souls.
The first couple of times you do. Well, they like all games have started moving into that tutorial phase where, and you may not recall this. You might. Initially, games used to have like the owner's manual, and their controller layout was in the owner's manual.
That thing that's not like literally just what buttons are and what the buttons do.
And the funny thing is, even when they include an owner's manual in a game, it's typically just the safety warning about seizures and epileptic reactions, things like that. Very rarely do they actually have anything to do with the game itself.
Remember when they used to be like? Remember when they were like this thick?
Yeah, because they would give you the.
I don't know if you can see that, but that's pretty thick to today's standards.
Yeah, it used to be thick, and the reason it was thick was because they gave you the table of contents, a background of the story, the controls, some of the various tips and tricks, all the stuff that you get in a 10-minute intro tutorial in the game. All of that was included in the owner's manual. So they've moved away from that, and just about every game now, when you turn it on, makes you go through some kind of setup. And how many games start off the same way? Like Hardcore Henry, for example. I mean, that's a movie, not a game. But like, think about it. It's the exact same thing. Character randomly wakes up. After randomly waking up, try looking over
most
here.
games aren't even like waking up. It's
try moving this way.
It's like
try doing this. Try doing that.
I was actually playing Battlefield the other day, and it was like you guys are in a car, and the car gets hit by like a grenade or something, and it blows and flips over, and you're like in a ditch. You're like, "Hey, new guy, you alive? Look up. Follow my directions. Look up. Look down."
Yeah, and
is this okay? Do you want to invert the controls? And it's like most games make it to where like Titanfall, you are a pilot, so you're going through training to familiarize yourself with the controls. Which sometimes the context in which they put it in, it's understandable because not every person in Titanfall is a seasoned veteran. Some people need to learn how to do certain things.
We got Gamer Circuit.
I feel like I brought that topic up before.
I think he's talking about the gameplay versus control. Gamer Circuit, what's going on, man? Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you subscribing. But yeah, I mean, it's a common thing, if you will. I would agree. It's probably something that's come up numerous times before. I get it. But you were just saying you played
the Titanfall 2 closed beta the other month. It's now over, but it was pretty fun. And when you first turn the game on, for me, it threw me into live multiplayer. But after that, I backed out because I didn't remember the controls, and there was a training session to play. And essentially, your characters run through a VR training course like you were in the first one. Only it looks a lot cooler because new devs. But getting off that topic, it gives you a feeling of, hey, you're being trained, not your character is just this limp sack who's doing these weird command movements and somebody's talking to you from the fourth wall, like, press the A button. Like, why does this character know about the A button? Is he self-aware? Like,
fourth wall.
I mean, some games, they use the context, like, okay, go ahead and crouch, like they did in Modern Warfare, where we can go on about this for days using specific examples, but
I think
I hate when you are talking in those sentences.
I think the biggest thing, though, for any kind of gameplay and control scenario
I think it's best for them to be comfortable.
Ultimately,
fluidity can make or break a person's will to play a game.
I would agree. I mean, you definitely don't want the control scheme to be so difficult and so convoluted that you can't enjoy the game. Ultimately, that's the only thing that you're looking for, is being able to sit down, play, and have a good time. If you don't have a good time with it, you're not going to play it. If
Or you're playing Dark Souls.
And then you just want to punish yourself for some reason.
That is punishment.
And some people enjoy that. You know, if nothing else, the challenge. Think about the pride you had after.
No, there's no.
When you beat that game, though.
I beat Dark Souls. What? No, I beat the first 3 bosses, and then I stopped for 2 years because I got salty. Like, literally, I beat this tutorial boss, which is that I actually, like, struggled last time I went back after all these years. So I was like, what? He has a move where he one-hit kills you? Because it never happened to me before, and I got Johnny one-shot.
Maybe it was something in an update. They put it in an update to make it more challenging.
The game didn't even update. It was like a systematic update so the game could be compatible. And I don't know what that boss learned in those 2 years I've been gone. Because I played the exact same I played Pyromancer. I made sure Fireball.
You know what's interesting? That's what, Dark Souls 1?
Yes.
All right. Well,
I was
my
understanding
understanding
Dark Souls 2, kid.
I was about to say Dark Souls 1, and then Dark Souls 1 is from what I understand, the hardest.
Yes.
Dark Souls 2 was hard, but a different kind of hard.
Dark Souls 2 was a little more vast. Like, the enemies were more unique. Like, I remember watching because I didn't get this far because I sucked, but I was still good against somebody who never played it. I remember watching one part, and the guy got to a boss fight, and the boss fight was like a pair of Siamese twins. Like, one was in the front, one was in the back, and they had 4 weapons. Like,
okay,
the way you have to play, like, there's many ways to play Dark Souls, depending on what class you choose and how your personal preference is. Okay. And lots of people try to play Dark Souls safe, which is no, because if you don't have balls, you should be playing Dark Souls, first of all.
And this is the concept, like when you hit the campfire, you save, enemies respawn, that kind of stuff.
Like, Dark Souls does not give you a break. If you're in constant battle, and every battle can kill you. You think you go up against a weak enemy, they'll ambush you in numbers, or they'll pop up from behind you, or they'll come from that little corridor to your right that you didn't expect to jump out of. Or it'll be an enemy that's not really predictable, or you won't have enough stamina because you didn't put your character right, or you can't have the right proficiencies to use as weapons, so you're swinging it lazily and it's too heavy.
So with these types of games, like, you pick your character, you have the various items that you can choose and you can select, you have the different classes. Do controls affect how you play different classes?
No, the controls are generally the same. It's the items that change, like, because, okay, for instance, right bumper is your basic attack. Okay. Right trigger is your heavy attack.
Okay.
B is your roll. X is how you use items. A and Y don't really do much. Y makes you dual wield whatever weapons in your right hand.
Okay. So
a warrior can press Y and use his broadsword from one hand and 2 hands, which gives it more damage. A mage doesn't really ever need to press Y because their staff, which is what they use to cast spells, can generally be used with a shield, which will actually keep you alive long enough to cast the spells.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, that's one thing.
Well, that is one of those situations, I believe, then where controls would in fact affect gameplay.
Yeah, and the controls are unique for Dark Souls, but you very quickly get adjusted. Because the controls feel natural almost. The first time I played Dark Souls, I never struggled with controls. Granted, there were a few things I didn't know. Like, in order to jump, you have to first get a running start, which is while you're moving, hold down B.
15 seconds, wrap up on Dark Souls.
Tap B. It's like when you're running, hold B, then tap B again while running, and you'll jump. Small little things you don't know, because there's no tutorial in Dark Souls. There's no control configuration to look at what the buttons do. It's all learning through trial and error.
Well, that is definitely plenty of food for thought on that. Last thing we were going to talk about today.
Some upcoming games.
Some
more video games.
So we're gonna stick with games today. Last time we did, most of our conversations tend to be about movies. Today we're going to focus in pretty heavy on the games. Some of the games that I know I wanted to speak on, specifically, we are literally 12 days away from Mafia 3.
Ooh. Still gonna be Mafia 2.
What's kind of funny is like since we're talking about it, okay, there. I've just about got it paid down, paid off. We'll have it paid off. We'll be getting it day
I'm
one.
actually really excited for Mafia 3 because I didn't follow as intensely as I do one game at the particular moment. But when I first saw Mafia 3, it was really interesting because the story, like in the first two games, you follow
one of the crime families.
not a crime family. You follow a particular family. Like I forget the last name. Vino something. The first Mafia 1 you play as his father. Mafia 2 you play as him. In Mafia 3 you play as this completely unrelated character.
Correct.
And a black man during
Vietnam era.
Vietnam era who meets Vino. So his relation comes from an outer source. He has no direct ties. You're playing as this character who is independent in his own needs and own reasons. And it's a very interesting concept to see how they're going to link this together.
But this character is actually Special Forces. He himself is... I forget the character's name, but let me see if I can pull up some info on it.
Knowledge. We don't remember any of the names.
So it is the game is set in 1968. It's New Bordeaux, which is supposed to be a New Orleans kind of area. The character's name is Lincoln Clay.
Is that two first names?
Possibly. Lincoln. Yeah, Lincoln could be a first
If you
name.
name me Clay, I would have fought. We would cut hands.
You probably would have fought a lot if your name was Clay.
Nah, not as much as my name was Jesse. I knew a guy named Jesse.
Did Jesse fight a lot?
Nah, Jesse
No,
was
okay.
cool.
So you've got this guy, Lincoln Clay, and his family, like, he himself, I don't think he has a lot of actual family.
No, I think he actually has no family.
Yeah, like, he goes into the military, he's Special Forces trained and things like that. He comes back, and
He's kind of on
he
this
was a gang
Punisher,
member.
like-
Well, no, see, he was a gang member before he left. He comes back, and it's like
This discipline.
the gang is the only family he has. So they've had some issues and some run-ins with some actual military family, not military, but some mafia family. And now he comes back, kind of a revenge thing against the actual mafia. So it's a new story, and I think that is actually going to be kind of interesting.
Because I remember watching a trailer, and I think I don't know if his name is Vino. I just cannot remember the main protagonist's name from Mafia 2. But if I remember correctly, I remember watching a trailer, and apparently he has some problems with the mob and is helping you get at them.
Well, that would be the objective, is to build your criminal empire.
Yeah.
And so you probably have ties to the mob, but I doubt you're going to be inducted into the family.
Yeah, you're not inducted into their family, but like you have sources from like Vino's would be X family, and he's helping you take them down. So he was once an inside guy. So
in 12 days, we'll pick that up. Maybe we'll put that on Twitch.
We'll definitely do a review.
We'll do a review. No questions asked on a review. We should probably have everything in place to do something for Twitch by then. Right after that, and I'm kind of excited about this one myself, Gears of War 4
Cuatro
comes out on October 11th, 16 days away from that. Then following that with another big title, Battlefield 1.
Did you get to play any of the beta? I know I did. Did you?
I was there when you were playing it.
Oh dang!
I didn't get a chance to actually play, but I watched you play, and watching your rage while playing was enough for me.
It wasn't. See, as a Battlefield player, that wasn't rage.
Just the typical.
That
where
was
are my
me,
teammates from?
No, that's war. Because in war, nobody cares about you. Let me say that right.
What's the
war?
War
never changes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
And
so
apparently, people find their ways into mountain formations and blend in pretty well and snipe you with ARs. So not ARs, but I don't know how people are sniping with light machine guns from World War One.
Takes talent, man. Takes talent. But I mean, you have people who have dedicated and only they've really strictly played through Battlefield.
But the Battlefield 1 multiplayer beta, I give it 8 out of 10. 7 out of 10 because the servers were just so bad.
Well, I mean, it was one of those things.
Because the servers were probably overloaded half the time, but like half the time I would lag, disconnect. It was actually really bad. That's probably why I had rage, because I was tired of it.
All right, we're coming up on time, so we're not going to hold you much longer. 2 more things to mention. I do want to say, also coming out in October, we've got Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. That one comes out October 25th.
I'm actually excited for that because I did enjoy the first Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse. My character is actually trained very heavily under Vegeta, a little bit under Piccolo. I'm kind of going to make him like training heroes or anti-heroes and villains.
Well, I've got that one pre-ordered also, and it comes with the little Dragon Ball Z Goku figurine, and it's going to end up there. So we'll probably do an unwrapping or something like that so people can see our little Goku figure. And then right after that, of course, we've got on November 4th, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. They've got the 3 different bundles.
We're doing the pre-order, right?
Yes,
So that means we're getting the Call of Duty remastered.
I'm getting the remastered Modern Warfare. That is the sole purpose of getting that game, to get the remastered Modern Warfare. Now, I do hear that there's some talk. I haven't seen the actual confirmation yet. Calm down. Haven't seen the actual confirmation that you should be able to get that DLC standalone. I do think that is the case. Better safe than sorry. I'm going to play Call of Duty. I'm going to play the single-player campaign, if nothing else, because I have to play it. It's just, I'm obligated to. I have to play it. I'm looking forward to playing. I
didn't play the story I didn't play Advanced Warfare at all.
You didn't?
I played Ghost, which came out after Advanced Warfare, it came out.
Black Ops 3? Is that what you mean?
Black Ops 3, Advanced Warfare, and then I believe it was Ghost.
Yeah, okay. Nonetheless, you got to play through the story.
I mean,
you got to play through the story.
I don't know.
Are you going to get on the multiplayer?
God, that's why I play Battlefield. I'm so bad at Call of Duty multiplayer. Because like Battlefield is a game where you can actually take your time doing some things, like sniping, which is why people hate playing it, because people complain about campers. Like, snipers don't go running around jumping in full 360 circles, randomly firing their guns, getting headshots. A sniper is somebody who sits there, finds a good tactical position, and just ranks up kills. Like,
I like that Battlefield rewards you for doing your class specific duty.
Like medics,
if you're a sniper, call out the artillery, call out the positions, call out where everything is, and when you get those shots, you take them. You take the big shots, you go big, you go home.
Use your equipment for tactical advantage. Put down that radio beacon. Let people spawn close to the objective. Medics, use your med kick support. Drop that ammo because your teammates are in a firefight. You don't have to face everything alone. You can mark your targets. Let your teammates see it. So, like, hey, this dude's run up on me. You marked him. He's on my mini-map. Oh, crap. I wasn't going to notice him before. Now I sprayed him down.
So, those are some games coming out. Those are some of the games we're looking forward to.
Another game that was on the list that that was particular for you didn't mention. For Honor. I'm pretty interested in For Honor. Because I love me some good old sword fights.
I know absolutely nothing about For Honor except that it comes out, February?
One of those two, either January or February 2017. Comes out pretty early.
It'll be first quarter.
Was it March. Or we totally off. I think it was March. 31st.
It might be March. I don't know. Let's see. February 14th.
February 14th. You can play as a Viking, samurai, or European knight. I'm really interested to see how the combat in that's going to be, because I've seen a couple of things.
I have no idea what this is. So we'll get some information. We'll do some research, and maybe we'll do something on For Honor. We'll do a video for that once we can get some details.
Watch me suck at it.
But those are some items to look forward to. Nonetheless, check us out. Grown A Geeks. We're on Facebook. Find groups. Grown A Geeks. All one word. I'm Sam. This is Marius. We hope you've enjoyed what we had to talk about today, and keep checking us out. We'll try to keep the content fresh and updated, and I'll probably get some of my other admins in here to be a part of some of the future conversations, and so look for us then. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Peace.
Hail Hydra.